All right, fight fans, welcome back to the MMA Plug presented to you by the Talk of Colorado on 98.1 FM Mile High Sports Radio. I'm your host, Jordan Kurtz, alongside the big ins, UFC middleweight Josh Grimm. We have a special guest with us joining us here along the hotline today. We have Razor Rob Wilkinson. How you doing, my man?
I'm good, Jordan. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So, ladies and gentlemen, Rob has a big fight coming up this week for PFL. Josh, what do you have?
Oh, man, I'm super excited for this fight coming up. Rob, you've been out here training at Factory X for this camp. Before we jump in to the whole opponent, I do have a question about that regarding today. I found out some information. But first off, I wanted to ask you, what is it that made you choose coming to Factory X for this camp? I noticed that you were doing a camp in your last fight down in Texas and, different gyms as that. What was your idea and what made you pick Factory X for this one?
First off, I wasn't doing a camp in Texas for the last one. I just got there like 10 days before the fight. So I just was going on pads. I did my last camp back home at Hybrid Training Center in Hobart. But with everything with COVID going on, I wasn't sure if I'd really want to, and like how often you have to fight in the PFL. I wasn't sure if I wanted to travel in and out of Australia every, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, especially with, just flights getting cancelled. If you got COVID, you couldn't fly. A second reason, then I wanted to kind of stay and train with some like really good guys. And I was talking to one of my old training partners, Richie Walsh, who works with the UFC and was working with the PI and everything. And he made some calls for me and got recommended Mark as a coach. So I gave him a call and it sounded like it was going to be a good fit. Denver is a beautiful place as well, just like Tasmania. So I kind of wanted to go somewhere nice because I've been to a few parts of America and they're not the best. So wanted to go somewhere with nature. Part about Denver? Just like just how easy it is to just get out and see some wildlife or go for walks and hikes and see the mountains off in the distance. Everyone's super nice there as well, so it's awesome. And then also the high altitude I thought could be a good advantage as well.
All very good ones right there.
Very good ones. Yeah, you answered one of my questions later. How do you like Colorado? So, yeah, it's beautiful out here.
It is beautiful. I do like Colorado. I lived in LA for a little bit and I've been in California and been in Oregon before. And then I fought in Texas and I can't see myself living anywhere of those places again. So, Oregon was all right, but yeah. Growing up in California, it's just like so much you can just go to the beach, you can go for walks and get out of the city. So I'm used to that. So I kind of need that in my life. Otherwise I hate big cities and just get caught up in there.
Yeah.
That's fair. I think some of those exact reasons are how Josh ended up in Denver too, right? Josh, you wanted that quick escape to be able to get to the wildlife and the nature.
Yeah, I'm just a kid from the sticks of PA, so getting out into the woods is definitely something that I like and get you away from all the hoopla of training and fighting and the city.
Yeah, definitely.
On a different note here, I'm kind of glad that we're on this virtual platform and we're not all side by side because I'd be looking like a complete midget next to you two giant humans. We were initially, when we were talking about doing this there in the studio, that Josh made a comment about how big you are, Rob. I was like, Josh, what are you talking about? You're over here, you're the biggest guy on the UFC middleweight roster. Well, what's easier to store, a tent pole or a fire hydrant?
That's true. But no one knows because, here we all look the same size. So
Exactly. So in terms of the matchup coming up this week here, Rob, what are some of your thoughts in terms of, what is going to, without peeling the curtain back by any means, obviously, but what's your keys to victory? Where do you feel your strengths are coming into this matchup?
Well, at the moment when I'm sitting here, I actually don't know who I'm fighting just yet. There's been a little bit over the last 2 days of being told that Victor Pesta didn't get cleared to fight. He couldn't get like a license here because he had a 60-day suspension from his last fight, from his knockout. So then I was told I was fighting Corey Hendricks, and that was on Saturday afternoon. And then yesterday when I arrived, I got told that Victor Pesta might still get cleared. He's protested it or something, and they're looking into it. So I'm either fighting Victor Pesta or Corey Hendricks as the replacement, but I'm not sure who yet.
That's a little bit of a juggling of the thought process, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
So is this mindset you have right now? Just you don't care who the opponent is. You are very comfortable and confident in the approach that you have. That either opponent works for you.
Yeah, I don't mind. They're slightly different opponents. They've got different skill sets, but in pretty much all my fights, I just focus on myself, my skill set, and I can take the fight where I want to take it. I can outstrike these guys. I can take them to the ground and beat them up on the ground. So it doesn't really matter. I just need a name, and or I'll just turn up on a Friday night, and whoever's in the cage, I'll fight.
You've also had some specialist experience with professional kickboxing and whatnot. How do you feel that specialist time or that specialist training is going to help propel you throughout this season in this PFL season?
I've definitely improved my striking a lot since, say, I was in the UFC like 5 years ago. I've had a few professional kickboxing fights. I've had a pro boxing fight. I've won titles in both of them. And I'm just way more confident in my striking now. I used to just kind of be a grappler. Now I'm very well-rounded. I can, I'm confident I can outstrike these guys, or if I want to, I can take them down. I can ground and pound them. I can choke them out. I can win the fight anywhere now.
Love it.
Love that. Just to switch gears just a little bit. I know you're currently, getting your weight down for weight cut and everything. So just to torch you a little bit, Rob, question I have for you is, since, the time that you've spent in the States, what is your go-to favorite food since you've been here?
I love burgers. So I've tried a fair few different burgers, cut them back over the last probably month, but I am looking to try out some good burger places. And then we had when we were in Texas, we were eating a lot of barbecue, especially after the fight. So just like those smoked meats were all delicious, brisket and the ribs and everything. They're probably we don't really have like huge smoke, like barbecue style food as much in Australia. Like we do, but not like all the smoked brisket, not as common. And actually, then another thing I've eaten a lot of is tacos.
Yeah, tacos. Yeah. Those are three great foods right there.
They are. Yeah, that's why I'm a light heavyweight now, not a middleweight, because I decided I like that food too much.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I definitely. I don't blame you there. I mean, me personally, like tacos are one of my favorite foods, no matter what the situation is. You give me tacos, you give me steak, I'm happy. Either one of them, I'm a simple man to please in that regard. But Rob, now in terms of, with the PFL, there's a little bit of difference in terms of the rule set that maybe some of our listeners aren't
recording in progress,
but that will how does that play into your strategy and not being able to throw elbows?
Yeah, I actually only found that out maybe 3 or 4 weeks before the first fight. My girlfriend Paris actually told me. She was just looking up something and she goes, "Oh, you can't elbow in that?" And I was shocked. I was like, "What? What do you mean?" Because I love ground and pound. I love using my elbows for ground and pound.
Right.
And in my last fight, I did notice when I was on top of him, it was a lot harder to kind of maybe get the finish and really do damage without drawing those elbows. So it's annoying, but I can still use my punches. I can still hammer fist. But yeah, I've got a razor tattoo on my elbow.
Yeah.
So
pretty
Yeah, I mean, you got to be able. Yeah, I don't know. That's always been one of my, as far as like the actual rule set itself, my biggest like gripe with the PFL itself. obviously, like, I understand the rationale behind it. You know, with a quick turnaround, they don't want you to be able to, you know, someone have a giant gash and you can't turn around and fight 3-4 weeks later on when they need you for playoffs or whatever, so on and so forth. But as the purist or of the, you know, the old school just bleed MMA fan in me, that's my one gripe, or that's my one beef with it. So I just wanted to know your perspective on not being able to throw it, especially with your style.
Yeah, definitely. The last couple of weeks, I was like, all right, better stop thinking about elbows and visualizing elbows. Don't want to accidentally throw one. And then someone told me that in the final you could, but I think I looked that up and you can't, because I thought, well, if you're not getting, you know, at the end of the season, you should be able to throw elbows if you're not going to getting worried about cuts.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Agree.
In the final. It is like, it's quick turnarounds, like between this next one and then the playoffs, that's only 7 weeks. So I don't know if they could just like, and then say with same thing happening with Victor Pesta, he had a 60-day suspension. Now he's struggling to get a fight 8 weeks later. Like, I don't know if they should, you know, just push it back into like every 10 weeks, 10 or 12 weeks and have elbows, and then kind of it would stop some of these issues, I guess. But
could potentially.
Yeah.
Josh, what do you have?
All right. So, Rob, Friday night happens. What is the picture perfect scenario for you?
Just first round finish, 6 points going up. I'd like to demonstrate. I think I did a little bit in my last one, but I used quite a bit of my wrestling. I'd like to demonstrate my striking, as we've been talking about. Definitely improved a lot in my striking, and I can see myself knocking him out on my feet with my boxing. So, you know, in the first round, but not too early, so I can, you know, have a bit of fun out there, enjoy myself. You know, get a finish and go on to the playoffs without any injuries would be perfect.
I feel like that has to be one of the major aims for this entire PFL competition, right? Is you got to get to the playoffs healthy.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're fighting so regularly. Obviously, fights are hard, but yeah, trying to come out without any injuries or any major injuries is always the goal, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like in general, right, that's got to be the case. Like, you never want to come out with leaving too much of yourself in there, but especially with needing to have those quick turnarounds, or once it comes playoff time, like if you're not in the game, you can't win that $1 million prize, right? Like that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah, 100%. So obviously you got to win the fights. You can't just be playing it too cautiously and try not to get hurt or whatever. You're in a fight, but I guess the best way to do that is get an early finish, and then you can move on. Yeah.
Certainly.
That is an interesting mindset to have there, because that is something I've never thought. Because, yeah, generally when I go into fights, I'm like, oh, I mean, if I lose, I lose. If I win or lose, like, I'm going to go balls to the wall. Who cares if I get hurt? Because afterwards I'll have this time to relax. And does that play into your kind of how you approach the fight? Because you don't want to go too hard to where you might possibly get injured or any minor thing with your feet or anything like that?
A little bit, I guess, like, say, like, yeah, as you said, feet, like if you're kicking a whole heap, there's like, you know, you can beat someone up with kicks, but your legs are still just as beat up. But I guess when you're in there, you're fighting, and the most important thing is a win. You'd rather win than anything else. So, you know, I'd still go in there and sacrifice my own body to get the win. But then you just got to heal up for the next one. Main things, obviously, like major injuries, like I used to break my hand a lot. I haven't done that for a while, touch wood. You know, you don't want to have any major injuries like a broken hand where it kind of stops you from competing in the next one. Yeah.
Certainly. Folks, we're wrapping up talking to Razor Rob Wilkinson here, who will be fighting this weekend for the PFL. As we tie this thing up here, Rob, is there any sponsors, coaches, management, teammates, anybody that you want to throw a shout out to here on the way out?
I mean, thanks to everyone back home in Hobart and the gym at HCC for all the support, and thanks to everyone at Factory X, all my training partners there. It's been awesome to you know, be there for the last 7 weeks, and everyone's been super welcoming, and you know, it's an awesome gym there, and everyone's super friendly. So I've had a good time while I've been here. Yeah.
Certainly. Where can people follow you?
Just Instagram is mainly what I use. I think it's hooked up to Facebook as well, but Razor Rob Wilkinson on Instagram, that's what I use mostly. Yeah.
Awesome. Josh, do you have anything else you want to add?
No. Rob, I can't wait to see you compete this Friday. It's been awesome having you out here. Good luck, man.
No, thanks, Josh. Thanks for all the work.
Yep, absolutely. We can't wait to see what you put on as far as a show this weekend. And folks, like we say, that is Razor Rob Wilkinson. He will be fighting for PFL. Make sure that you tune in. Make sure that you give him a follow. Stick around after the break. We're going to be going around the world in combat sports and topping off the hour by going 3 rounds. I'm your host, Jordan Kurtz, alongside UFC middleweight Josh Friend. This is the MMA Plug presented to you by the Top of Colorado on 98.1 FM, Mile High Sports Radio.
Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. That helps us continue to produce this original MMA content and bring it for you every single week. Tune in to the MMA Plug presented by DenverSportsBetting.com on 98.1 FM, Mile High Sports Radio on Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 p.m.
or live stream at DenverSportsBetting.com/radio.